11 at the fair. And just because summer is winding down doesn't mean that your garden has to. Mark Armstead from Linders is joining us right now with some tips for fall. So let's give him a nice round of applause. You always bring lots of goodies with you. You always have good tips. So let's start out. What should we be doing right now?
Well, I think if you're thinking about bringing your houseplants in, maybe it's tropical foliage, it's a huge investment for plant material. So now's the time you got to start thinking about it. I think some of the key things are when you bring your plant material in, Mother Nature does a good job at pretty much keeping them clean all summer long. But inside, Mother Nature's not there to take care of them. So a bug problem can really get out of hand very quickly. So make sure that if you are going to do something like this, start spraying your plants. Get on a program where you're going to be spraying your plants once a week. And I don't care if you see a bug or not. So, yeah.
Okay, so green plants versus flowering plants, do you have different products for that?
Well, some of the annuals I probably wouldn't even think about. I mean, it's just easier to buy them fresh each year. But some of these things could be a pretty good investment. So some of the annuals, well, you can play around with them. Don't be too disheartened if they fail during the winter. Because, you know, Mother Nature kind of keeps them toned, keeps that growth looking good. Well, inside, you don't get that. So a lot of our annuals will grow pretty soft and get pretty weak and spindly.
And what about then pruning and then maybe transplanting some other plants that are out in the garden?
I don't do a lot of recommending when transplanting, when per se into a pot. But if you're looking to do this in the garden, fall is always the best time. I prefer that over spring because a lot of times our perennials and our trees and our shrubbery, they're putting that energy back down into the root system. So by transplanting, you're going to get them at a good time.
Okay, so you've got a couple of things here. We see now that these are just about ready to go, and this might be the second round for some of your mums out there?
No, this is actually the first round. It's been a pretty hot summer, and mums are pretty susceptible to heat delay. So we're seeing some of that a little bit anyway. And so, yeah, mums are just starting to come into color right now.
All right. Pat, do we have some questions from our audience?
We do, and we have a lot of gardeners sitting out here this morning on this beautiful Monday morning. Terrell has a question from New Brighton. Good to see you here. What's your question for Mark?
So my corn plants, a lot of my corn on top of it, it's got this like white mold that's been foaming over. What is that? And it's only on a few of them.
I guess I don't know what type of mold it is, but my guess would be just because of the way the corn has grown really fast this year. We were about 2 weeks ahead of schedule, the soil warming up, etc. And so now we're getting to that point, and things are just growing so fast they can't keep up with themselves. And I would think there's probably some moisture in it. My guess would be botrytis maybe, which is pretty common in plant material. But yeah, I'd get rid of those pieces. You know, make sure that you take them off, putting that energy back into the good corn that's left.
Okay, I think Pat's got another question. Okay.
Another quick question. Judy is from Litchfield. Judy, good to see you. What's your question?
I'm wondering what's going on with the corn, or the purple cornflowers. Have you heard anything about those?
We had a lot of folks in the summer that were thinking, what was that disease out there? Astor's yellow. I really don't think so. A lot of times plants, their main goal is to bloom. So they start heading into that whole blooming phase. Well, then if the temperatures, the heat, the sun, they can actually revert that plant material back into kind of a vegetative growth. So they start to form those flowers, and all of a sudden it hot stalls and aborts, and then they start to grow green again. And that's, I assume, what's happening to yours. I don't think it's Astor's yellow. I think it'd be too widespread if that was the case.
Thank you for your questions. We really appreciate it. Thank you again, Mark, for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Answering all of our questions. We appreciate it. For more information on Linders, just visit the show page at KARE11.com, and then you can find us under the News tab. Well, straight ahead.